Welcome back to English Podcast and Patterns. Today, we're diving headfirst into the world of American expressions that instantly make you sound natural. Many learners stick to textbook phrases, but natives rely on shortcuts like "I'm beat" or "it's pricey." Why are these alternative expressions so important for fluency in your view?
Great question. Using these expressions is like having the secret password to everyday conversations. They add authenticity and relatability. For example, saying, "I'm wiped out" after a long day paints a vivid picture, whereas "I'm very tired" feels flat and robotic. It's about connecting emotionally and signaling that you're in tune with cultural norms.
That emotional connection is key. I notice that when learners use phrases like "I'm swamped" instead of "I'm very busy," conversations instantly feel more relaxed and engaging. Could you elaborate on how these subtle shifts impact the flow of interactions?
Absolutely. These expressions serve as conversational glue. They break down barriers and encourage reciprocity. Imagine a coffee shop scenario. You say, "I'm totally beat" to the barista, and suddenly the exchange turns friendly. It's almost like using the right slang lets you join an inner circle, fostering smoother, more dynamic dialogue.
Let's get practical. Instead of "I understand," Americans say "I get it" or "got it." This tiny swap makes speech sound more immediate. Why do native speakers prefer these forms? And how does this choice alter the tone of a conversation?
Using "I get it" signals active listening and empathy. It's punchy and informal, making the speaker sound approachable. Contrast that with "I understand," which can feel distant or even dismissive. In a study by the University of Michigan, speakers who used casual affirmations like "got it" were rated as 30% more likable in peer interactions.
That's a striking statistic. Moving on, phrases like "it's pricey" or "it costs an arm and a leg" replace the bland "it's very expensive." These idioms seem more colorful and even humorous. What effect does this have on group dynamics, especially among friends?
Such idioms inject personality into conversations, often softening the blow of bad news. If you say, "That new iPhone is pretty pricey, but worth it," you acknowledge reality without sounding negative. It's a subtle way to bond over shared experiences, fostering camaraderie rather than complaint.
So, these choices aren't just about vocabulary, they're about shaping relationships. Let's transition to more scenarios to see how these expressions function in real life. Context is everything. For example, "my bad" casually replaces "I'm sorry," but it's not always appropriate. How do language learners judge when to use such expressions, especially in professional settings versus casual hangouts?
It's a balancing act. In a relaxed environment, say, with friends or on social media, "my bad" feels lighthearted and sincere. However, in a job interview or formal meeting, it can appear careless. Learners should listen closely to context cues. If others are using casual phrases, it's often safe to join in. Otherwise, erring on the side of formality avoids misunderstandings.
That's excellent advice. Let's imagine a scenario. The boss asks if you'll meet a deadline. Responding, "I'm pretty swamped, but I'll make it work," is both honest and optimistic, much more nuanced than simply stating, "I'm very busy." Why does this matter?
It's all about tone. Swamped conveys the intensity of your workload, while "I'll make it work" reassures your commitment. This duality builds trust and shows adaptability. Research from Harvard Business Review shows that employees who use adaptive, expressive language are rated as better team players and problem solvers.
Let's pivot to practical techniques for mastering these expressions. The content suggests role-playing real-world situations, like saying "I'm beat" during a morning coffee rush, or "let's grab a bite" when inviting a friend out. How does this help solidify learning?
Practice in authentic contexts is like weightlifting for your language muscles. It turns passive knowledge into active skill. When you repeat expressions in meaningful situations, your brain wires them as default responses. For example, after a long meeting, saying "I'm absolutely beat" becomes second nature, not just a memorized phrase.
That's a great analogy. Another tip is using these phrases on social media, like commenting, "This video is fire," or "No worries, anytime." How do public interactions accelerate fluency and confidence?
Every public use is a mini immersion. You're getting feedback, seeing native responses, and absorbing subtle variations. Over time, you'll not only sound more natural, but you'll also internalize the rhythm and nuance of American English. It's a confidence booster, and as studies show, confidence is a major predictor of language mastery.
To wrap up, let's challenge our listeners. Try weaving at least 3 of these expressions into your next conversation. With practice, they'll soon become a seamless part of your daily English.